All right, guys. I just wanted to post a quick video. I'm gonna go over just a couple questions. I had kind of the same question regarding the defensive zone draw, so I wanted to go over it with a little more clarity to give you a couple different looks and scenarios, so that hopefully it helps kind of clear the picture of what the goal is here. And then I'll just talk a little bit about the tournament itself. So on the defensive zone draw, as you know, we talked about in the previous video about moving the left defenseman to the boards and moving the left wing inside. So a couple different questions were asked with regards to this. One being, what if, this winger is lined up here, and we were in a spread out formation where obviously the left wing is on this hash mark, and the goal for him is to get through to that point. So the question was, well, what happens if their winger lines up directly across? Well, he's not supposed to, right? This winger really isn't supposed to be up on the line here. He should be set back. The right defenseman should be lining up wherever this guy lines up at. So if he lines up out here, he should be out here. If he's lined up right in tight on the circle, he's lined up right in tight on the circle, because that's his man-to-man coverage, right? So that's where he lines up. If this is a scenario, which I believe in most cases it will be, the left wing is basically just right off of his hip here. So when the ball drops, this wing instantly shoots out off of his hip. Now, you might see a scenario where this guy tries to cut him off. As the defenseman, you're just setting a pick here to cross him off. Just kind of step in his lane to cut him off, and it gives that path for the winger to break through there. I think that's kind of cut and dry here. Again, this defenseman is just lining up in tight with this forward, which is going to allow this winger to shoot off his hip, through that shooting lane. Again, to give the concept of why we're doing this, in the event that we lose the draw, comes back to the point. If this guy tries to shoot, right, he's got no lane here because it's covered up by these guys that are manned up, this winger breaking through. Whereas in the old setup, or in the most common setup that we see, we lose the draw. This winger used to be out here. If he's never getting to that guy, and even if he does, right, even if he beats this winger somehow, even if he gets through there, if that draw is clean and he one times it, or even just gets a quick shot, you see the difference, right? Now there's a shooting lane there. Whereas if that winger is on this defenseman's hip coming through here, there's no shooting lane there. It takes it away, and that's the concept of why we're doing this. All right, so one of the other things that was asked, well, what happens if they overload this area here? What happens if they overload this area? For example, maybe they're going to bring the other winger over, and they're going to leave this area of the rink here is blank. What we would do in this scenario, same thing. Right defenseman is still lined up here. This winger's objective is still to get out to this point. This winger's objective is still to get out to this point. In this scenario, this left defenseman now comes over and he mans up here, right? So we have our two defensemen manned up with their forwards, and then this winger is still going through. This winger is still going here. So no matter what they do with positioning wise, our two wingers' objective is still the same. We just want to make sure that we're matching up appropriately. So you may see this. Oops, sorry. This guy comes here. This guy's here. You may see where they put a guy here, or they might even shift him over here. So I would say in this scenario, if this guy is here, we still line up exactly the same. The goal is still the same. This left defenseman, you're just going to come out a little further off the draw in the event that we lose it, just to make sure that you're close there. Again, it's still a very similar scenario. The center is going to be locked up here. This winger is still breaking through here. So this shooting lane is there's not much space there for that shooting lane. And If they line him up over on this side, that's when, again, the left defenseman is going to come over here, and the two defensemen just need to communicate. Right defenseman might be coming out to take this guy. The left defenseman may match up with this guy. Again, that would be communication between the two defensemen. Hopefully that clears up some of the questions that you guys had. And while I have this set up, I'll just go through it again in the event that we win the draw. I'll win it where the defenseman picks it up, and I'll win it where the center picks it up. Again, this is in the other video, but I'll just recap it here for the sake of just keeping it fresh in your mind. So there's a couple components here that are very critical. A, obviously winning the draw. B is the right wing in this scenario is critical. It's absolutely critical he gets as far out to the boards as possible. Like your hips should be on the boards, basically. You want to get as wide as you possibly can. And I would even suggest just going in a straight line. Again, depending on, like if this guy is really far back, you can cheat some to gain some space. You can actually, come up a little higher. But the goal is when that ball drops back, this defenseman is instantly cutting back. This defenseman is coming back to pick up the ball, or the center, right? Whichever. It might be like a loose draw that comes back where the center just picks it up and takes it back himself, or it's a hard win back, to the goal line, or even all the way to the boards, where the defenseman just swoops in and picks it up. The goal is here to move the ball quickly and as accurately as possible, guys. We really need to focus on just accurate passes in the defensive zone. So you can do a bank pass here off the boards, or you can just go stick to stick to the right defenseman. At this time, this is where your winger has already started moving out. Your center has already started looping back here, so that this guy will more than likely come out here. It could even be the defenseman, where this winger may come in. Probably more likely, the center is going to stay with the center. This guy is going back here, and this guy is just hovering, kind of following where this guy goes, right? So this is where, off of the win, a D-to-D pass, this is probably what we're looking at. So what happens here? Depending on how hard this pass from the left defenseman is, right? It can go D-to-D, or if he feels a lot of pressure, he can just wheel it all the way around right to this point. That takes longer to develop. There's a lot more that can go wrong here. It gives this defenseman a lot of time to anticipate that and put pressure on his back immediately. Either way, we're taking the ball from this position, tight quarters, a lot of congestion right off the faceoff, and we're moving it away into a safe zone. That's why I like the D-to-D pass better than the actual wheel all the way around. In this scenario, really both should technically work if everyone executes. I do prefer the D-to-D pass here, because then this defenseman can get his head up. He can make this pass to this guy. At that point, the pressure comes in on him. There's still going to be pressure here. The center is looping through. So it can be a quick pass from right D to wing, and then a touch pass to the center. Or if the center has separation, because he's going to be sweeping through, if the center gets separation, and you see this a lot when they don't bring in a lot of pressure, he may just be in this area, which is kind of a dangerous zone, right? But if he's open, you can make a safe pass from here to here. And again, it's allowing this winger to get open. It's allowing this winger to make a movement. And then it's a chip pass, out of our defensive end. So that's the idea of what we're trying to accomplish. Get separation off of the face-off, create space, and then building this triangle, right? Keeping these guys in close quarters. That's why when we talked about it in the other video, as the ball is moving up, we really want our defensemen following the play immediately. Don't get caught flat-footed watching the play, right? It happens all the time. but you want to keep your feet moving and keep moving forward with the play so that we can move out as a group, a 5-man unit. And again, we talk about the neutral zone. So when we get to this point, right, this is just a summary of everything that we talked about in the last video. One of the things that you are going to hear me harp on in every game, in every period, on every shift. The key to success in a hockey game, in my opinion, is who wins the neutral zone. If you win the neutral zone, what you're doing is you're eliminating errors. You are breaking out. That means that you're breaking out of your zone cleanly and you're getting into the offensive zone. So when you can eliminate errors in the neutral zone, you are successfully getting out of your end and getting into the other end. It is a very critical aspect to this game. So what do we do in the neutral zone? I kind of in the last video said there's 3 things that you do, but then I kind of threw in a 4th. So I want to kind of recap on that. The first idea when breaking out of our zone is to get into the offensive end. So I want us to be aggressive. I want us to be offensive minded. So we've this is, we'll just say this is our scenario. This is what we're looking at. We've got a player on the boards breaking the ball out. So we're going to just move these guys back. We've got possession. Your first thought process when you have the ball, possession of the ball, you are the player with the ball. You take a look at what you have here. If the defenseman is off and you have space, you can carry the ball and take the space until it's not there anymore. So either you're taking the space until it's not there, or the player is on you. So your next thought process is head manning the ball. Is there an outlet for you? Can you pass the ball forward? Head manning the ball means you're moving the ball forward into the neutral zone or forward across the red line to the other side of the rink. If a winger is breaking and you can hit him, you're head manning the ball, and now we're breaking through cleanly. If you don't have a pass, so when you no longer have space and you don't see a passing lane to your center or your forward breaking in, the next option is a dump. I don't want to see anyone trying to dangle anyone in the neutral zone. That is just rule number 1. Do not think you're going to dangle anyone. If you've got some speed and you can make a move, okay, but you've got to be 100% certain that you're getting past that guy. We cannot afford a stick check. The ball comes back the other way. That is the whole mental process of the neutral zone, is eliminating errors, eliminating turnovers, so that we don't go from a running forward position to now we're back on our heels. So again, we take the space. Space isn't there. We look for the headman. The headman isn't there. The next thing is the dump. Hockey is a possession game. When you don't have possession, you can't score. So when we are thinking of dumping the ball, the first type of dump that I want us to use is a dump right on net. That means the closest forward or the forward furthest into the zone is in on net to force a face-off, and then we work our offense from there. You can try. I'm not saying to do this every single time. I want the offense to be creative. So if you think you've got an opportunity where you can hard wrap it around, maybe we've moved up and we're at the blue line, you can get a hard wrap around here to the winger who's cruising in. By all means, go ahead and do that. I'm not saying don't do that. 9 times out of 10, I think we're going to be dumping the ball in on the net. But I want you guys to be creative, and I want you to choose those dump-in options as you see it fit for what you see on the rink at that time. The safest play will always be dumping it in on net, because we're not technically giving up possession because it's going to a face-off. Where we just dump it into a corner, now we've just turned it into a 50-50 ball. We didn't really pass it to anyone. We didn't force a stoppage on net. We've dumped it into a corner, which we may win that race and we may win that 50-50, but it's a 50-50 for a reason, right? The other player has an opportunity to win that battle as much as you do. Whereas that hard wraparound pass is more of a pass, and the dump in on net is, in my opinion, the safest play here to maintain pressure in the offensive end. Now, where I said at the beginning in the last video that there were 3 things to do in the neutral zone, and we just named them. We're looking to see if we have space when stick handling. We're head manning the ball. We're dumping it in on net. This is at the discretion of the forwards. When we are moving the ball through the neutral zone, if you don't see anything, that you like, maybe you realize there's some guys that are still trailing behind the play, maybe this winger didn't get up in the play yet, we broke out fast and you realize you're in no man's land and nobody's there with you yet. If you're going to dump the ball in on net and chase it yourself to force a stoppage, by all means go ahead and do that. What I don't want is it dumped into the corner to where we now have a 50-50 ball. What I would rather see you do is stop at the line and kick it back to your defenseman. This is why I'm saying it's absolutely critical that our defensemen are following the play here, right? If these defensemen are moving up as we are moving the ball up, the safest play to maintain possession will always be just kick it back to your defenseman, right? Then we can go D to D and kind of spread the rink out again, move them around, and then, again, look at our options in the neutral zone. How we possess the ball in the neutral zone will determine the outcome of every game that we play, and it will determine how much time we're spending in our own end. Our ability to break out, our ability to make smart decisions in the neutral zone, and you're going to see this for yourselves. I will point this out when we're making mistakes, if we're making mistakes in the neutral zone. It will be the result of them sustaining pressure in our end. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Okay? So a little bit about the tournament itself. Okay? We've got 12-minute runtime periods. We've got enough forwards to have 3 centers, 4 sets of wings. So I've created the pairings for the offense, and I've also created these. I didn't really do the numbers for defense. We have 7 defensemen, so we're going to do 7 defensemen. I don't know how much you guys are familiar with running numbers versus partners. We're going to run. Everybody's going to just take a number 1 through 7. So 1 and 2 will be together. Next shift, 3 and 4. Next shift, 5 and 6. Next shift, 7 and 1. Next shift, 2 and 3. 4 and 5. 6 and 7. 1, 2, so on and so forth. You'll just run through those numbers. Pretty basic stuff. So when we're making these changes, right, it's 3 12-minute runtime periods. We've got a lot of guys. My expectation, all right, and I can't say this any more clearly, my expectation is you guys get out there, you bust your ass for 30 to 45 seconds, and you know that it's your time to come off. We keep our line changes smooth. Everybody still gets substantial amount of playing time, still gets involved in the game, right? It is absolutely critical that everyone understands what their role is here. What I want to see, first shift for everyone. Guys, go out, get your legs under you, get the blood flowing, and just get off the rink. I don't expect anything major on the first shift of any line. I want to get through the lines, get everyone involved in the game, all 20 guys, 16, 17 players, whatever we got, 18 rink players, get everyone on the rink in that first couple minutes, 30 seconds quick, man, get a good run in, get off, let the next guy get out, so everybody's got the blood flowing, and then we can get to work. This is how I run every team that I play on. That first shift, I want everybody to go out, get a good hard run in, and then get off. And then we can start kind of settling into, the 45-second shift to a minute shift. And I will do the best that I can managing both sides, offense and defense, and making sure that guys are getting off when they need to make sure that everyone is getting ample playing time so that it allows me to see if we can make some changes to put some guys together to build some chemistry. Again, it's a lot of guys, but if it's run properly, and if everyone is ready to go when it's their turn to go out, it just creates a smooth bench. Okay, I don't want to hear any bickering on the bench. I am the head coach. I am the one that will speak. I don't need 10 other coaches on the bench. All right. Um, the captains for the tournament on offense is Rich Brailer. Captain for defense is Mark Ambolino. I don't want anyone else bickering, complaining, suggesting. Um, please let those guys do their job. I will do my job. Um, After the game, we can have open discussion and can talk about a lot of different stuff. I'm not saying I don't want to hear any input from anyone during the game. I like a very structured and a very organized bench and a very positive bench. That is my expectation from everyone. Um, so I think yeah, I mean, I think that's about it, right? As far as officiating goes, again, maintaining the positivity. I don't want anyone speaking to the officials, right? We can agree, disagree with whatever calls are made. I don't want any bickering and mumbling from our bench. If I feel that something needs to be addressed with an official, please let me handle that. I want you guys to focus on the game. Let me worry about the management side of anything else that's going on. There's no need for us to create a bad reputation for ourselves, and I don't want any official looking at us and then leaning one way when a call takes place because of how we've handled ourselves from the bench or on the rink. So please let me do all the speaking to the officials. Um, Game times, I do play at 7:30 myself. I ask that everyone gets there between 7:30, 7:45. Our first game is at 8:20, so it's pretty much immediately following my first game. So get there early, see Mark, see Rich. They will have the jerseys. They will pass out the jerseys. Once my game is completed and we actually get to get onto the rink, I will announce the starting five players. I will provide the numbers to all the defensemen in the order that I want them to go. I will announce all of the pairings for the wingers, and I'll announce the three centers. I did post it on Facebook already. I know some of you don't have Facebook, but it is there, and I will be using that, as a guideline to start the game off. Um, Again, expect things to change. It could change from shift to shift. It might be period to period. It really just depends what I see. Um, Hopefully, I've covered everything, guys. And look, and I'll say this, right? My expectation for this weekend is to see where we're at, see what we need to focus on verbally, see what we can change in game, and discuss between periods, between shifts, and between games to get us ready for Canada. Um, I expect everyone to be passionate. I expect everyone to want to win. Um, but my ultimate goal here is a little bit bigger than that. So um, again, there's a bigger picture here, but I do want to see the passion, right, and the drive from everyone, giving 150% on every shift. Um, so with that being said, again, and I said this in one of the other videos, don't lose sight of having fun, right? You guys have been playing the game a long time. You have an opportunity right now to play against maybe some guys that you maybe you play with them in league play, depending on where you're from. Look, the two teams that you're playing, the Force and Massacre. Force is they're grade A team. They have what may be one of the best goaltenders to ever play the game in our sport, in our country. Um, so it's not going to be an easy task. They are like a very well-oiled machine. They will move the ball well. They've got shooters. They've got guys that can run. They're incredibly strong on defense. But like any other sport, like any other game, every team is beatable. And I expect us to compete, and I expect us to be right there. Um, so um, I think that's going to wrap it up. This already went on for far too long. I didn't expect it to go this long. But I will see everyone on Saturday morning. Um, Bring your A games. I expect to see the best of everyone. So get some rest Friday night, and I'll see you guys on Saturday morning, man. Have a good one.